Hi, and welcome to the Commissioner's Report. I'm your host, Jeff Foley. I'm joined today by Commissioner Rick Wilson and Paul Womble, Director of Polk County's Emergency Management Division. Thanks for being here together, guys.
Hey, it's great to be here.
So we are in the wake of Hurricane Milton, a couple weeks removed from it. We're going to talk a little bit about what happened and what resources might be available to residents. Commissioner Wilson, I know lifelong Polk County resident, this is not your first rodeo with a hurricane. But talk to me, if you would, a little bit about what this hurricane was like for you. How did you and your family ride it out?
We were very blessed. I'm one of those guys, I've been here all my life. I've been through some pretty tough ones, and so I get pretty well ready. I've got, more than one property, but all in all, I was very blessed. I didn't have anything get tore up. We in this part of the county on our side, we were very fortunate compared to some other parts of the county. So, I'm blessed.
Paul, what made this storm a little bit different or unique?
Well, every storm is different. People want to compare to the Irma or Ian recently, or certainly 20 years ago this year, our three storms, right? But they're all different. We have not experienced the widespread flooding events, impact. We've had that in our history in Polk County, but not like what we've seen with this storm. But there's also there's damage all over Polk County. There's wind damage south of Frost Proof. There was damage here in Bartow and in the middle of the county. So the damage was consistent, just where it occurs and how the rainfall is really, the water was really the story here.
And I know in some areas we were looking at as much as 18 inches of rain.
Some radar estimates showed that much way up in the northwest part of the county. So that's an awful lot of amount of rain for a 12-hour period.
Commissioner Wilson, have you had a chance to talk to people in your district and kind of get a feel for what the impact has been there?
Yes, and a lot of people, I hear more about, I was very fortunate. I don't see the blue tarps in my district as much because in the last hurricanes we had most of the roofs got blowed off, so everybody got new roofs and they withstood. But water is the big thing right now because on the south side of the county, basically in my district, the rainfall was less, but it was up in the north end of the county, and all that water comes to the south. And that's what we've been trying to deal with and trying to work with. And that's where Paul and all these great, we've got some great people, but that with Swift Mud, with, just really working hard to try to handle that and to make it where we don't have any bigger impacts down south. And that's been the tough deal.
So Paul, what does your job become during a hurricane? I know that you spend all year preparing and hoping it doesn't happen, but when it does, what does your job look like?
Well, the role of emergency management at the county level is to facilitate and orchestrate. There's a whole team of folks from across the county, state agencies, volunteer, nonprofit. It's a big machine with lots of gear. So my job is to make sure the gear is staying in tune. So before the storm, we activate the Emergency Operations Center and focus on emergency protective actions, so sheltering, emergency information, out to the citizens, where can they go and to be safe. And then post-storm, we focus on initial impacts, what's happened, where, and what needs to be done. And now we're over 2 weeks, and we're still working on. There's still a shelter open. We're at a transition point more of into short term, and we're thinking about long term recovery. Some of these flooded homes, they'll need housing, they'll need assistance for repairs, and all that takes weeks and months, and in some cases years to fully recover. So that's the point we're at now. We're still working with partners.
And I know we could probably spend all day kind of shouting out the partners who have been involved from the state level to the county level and the cities. But I'd love to talk a little bit about what do residents need to know now? What resources are available to them now?
Well, we've compiled information on the county website, www.polk-county.net. Right up at the top, there's a link to the recovery information services. There's a link. We're still picking up debris. There's still lots of debris around the county. There's a link to the dashboard so you can see where that debris work is being done, and there's a debris hotline number there. But it's really about the services, and government only does so much. State and federal programs have almost all been approved. There's a couple of things that are still pending, but It only does so much. We've seen a lot of information about FEMA and registrations and denials. We'll have word soon on a fixed location in the county where people can actually go and meet with FEMA. So I would say stay tuned. But at some point, the government assistance is not designed to restore folks to their pre-disaster condition. And there's actually a call right now while we're taping of local Polk County agencies, organizations, United Way, Polk Vision, and many others who are going to work together over the coming months to help Polk County residents.
So residents should go to polk-county.net, and that's collecting resources that are available now. But Commissioner, I know as a hardened Polk County resident, you've done this a long time. It seems like this would be a good time to educate people about preparing for a hurricane and getting themselves ready. Any advice on, having been through them for years, any advice on getting ready for the next one?
I mean, we get it drilled into us every hurricane season, and do that. If you're in low-lying areas, get out if you can. Where flooding will happen. We're not like on the coast where, we have, tidal surge and stuff like that, but it still can get very, very, very touchy. The biggest thing is, I tell people if they have a little bit of a problem, they're worried about it, go somewhere. Don't stay here. It's kind of like I've said a couple of times where I've said it a lot. It's kind of like, Mike Tyson calling you up and say he's going to come over Tuesday and beat the heck out of you, and we sit right there and wait on him. And but we're all worried about stuff, our things, and I get that. But I want to touch on this. You got to. A lot of people have moved to Florida. This was their first ones, and they didn't know what to do. Neighbors work together, people work together. That's what it is just people working together. But with the EOC and Paul and all the other factors that come into this deal, I'm going to tell you this right now. Polk County's been through a lot, probably more so. We had 3 cross in 1 year with a few weeks apart. We've had hurricanes, the eyes. I've had 5 eyes come over my house. So, we've seen it. But our organization, the county, and all our partners, it is unbelievable how they work together. We are a model to look at. Because a lot of counties, they're not as prepared sometimes because they hadn't been through it. I hate to say it, when you go through something a lot, you get pretty good at it. And we're pretty good at it. And that goes back to the people we got and the organizations that we work with. But just got to be safe, pay attention. The new technology they got now that you can get on, the news channels in this area, they've got it down pretty pat. They know close. It's not dead on it. But you'll know that if that thing's coming, so then you got time to make a decision. A lot of things happen, people are just, they don't, oh, there's nothing to it. Oh no, I'm in an evacuation zone, I'm not going to go. Why? Take care of yourself and your family.
Listen to your gut.
Yep, listen to your gut.
Well, gentlemen, thank you for the work you do to keep the county safe. Appreciate it, and thank you for being here with us today.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff. That's
it for this episode of the Commissioner's Report. I'm your host, Jeff Foley. We'll talk to you again soon. Thank you for watching. Please make sure to subscribe and like our social media.